がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を回るため立ち向かうそれは心もやせが
And just like that, we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. Obviously, if you watched a live stream yesterday, you know me. My name is Ryan. I'm the social media manager for ChainBoost. Today, I'm joined by Alex, the CEO of Unq Club, as well as Martin, the Chief of Business Development. Gentlemen, how are we doing so far today?
We are doing just great. I mean, we're super busy, but I guess the whole adrenaline and everything and this excitement, keep us still alive. And we're not even tired. We just started. It feels like we just started yesterday. So yeah, everything's pretty cool on our side.
Fantastic. Alex, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. And yeah, definitely excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on here. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, right off the bat that we do have a giveaway going on right now for Unq Club whitelist spots. So if you guys if you guys follow ChainBoost, if you've seen that post on Twitter, it should be our pinned tweet. Go ahead and go over to that tweet. You can enter the giveaway. You just got to follow ChainBoost and follow Unq Club on Twitter in order to enter. There's a couple other steps that you could do to maximize the amount of entries that you have to make sure if you are interested in joining the Unq Club IDO, make sure that you enter that giveaway. Definitely a really good opportunity for you to join. Now, I want to get started and just give you guys the floor, give you both a chance to kind of introduce yourselves and how you got started in blockchain. So, Martin, I'll go ahead and start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your role within Unq Club, and maybe how you got started in the blockchain space.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, I started back in 2017. Super randomly, just a friend of mine introduced me to Bitcoin and mostly in particular to Bitcoin mining.
Okay.
I wasn't too impressed back then, but I decided to have a little bit exposure just in case, and I just bought one Bitcoin. It was around, I don't know, $2,000 back then. And from there, I just went down a rabbit hole, to be honest, because I didn't know this is going to have such impact on my life later on, because I just started digging more and researching more and more. And pretty quickly, I would say, I became an investor. If you guys know, back in 2017, there was like ICO boom, where projects, they've been raising like 50 million out of nothing, and they just it was more accessible for retail investors to put money in, and big checks, like 10, 20, 30K.
Yeah.
So I started like this super degen, like I didn't know what's going on, but I was investing left and right. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, since then, I'm keep doing this. Also in 2020, I joined a research team of a venture capital, because all that experience, brought me to this position. And then earlier this year, I met with Alex and our third co-founder, Urush, and we started Unq Club. So basically, I am, as I said, one of the co-founders and the main biz dev. And yeah, I will leave the stage for Alex now.
Thanks. So my journey in blockchain started around 2016. Before that, I was working in IT already for more than 10 years. Most of the time in game development, mostly exclusively MMO games. So it was made this whole concept of cryptocurrencies a little bit more understandable for me, I believe, because it's very natural. Digital money, yeah, fine, we know what it is. We operate on this level all the time. So I met a team that was actually working on some crypto-related project. We kind of joined forces between two companies. I was working as a chief operating officer in this joint venture. There was a lot that we've been doing. We went through an ICO back then and a lot of crazy stuff. I left the company, started my own startup actually on two of them that were focusing on the enterprise blockchain solutions, because the technology was something that really got me excited about the whole thing. I exited those startups, kept spawning new ventures and stuff like that. So I have this builder spirit in me, and yeah, that just kept happening until, like Martin said, beginning of this year we came, all three of us, together, and we decided to do something around the NFT space, which started booming.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the bigger appearances that you guys made at first when Unq Club was founded was through the Solana Hackathon, correct?
Yeah, that was basically, that was the turning point for us as well, because yeah, we had this idea, yeah, we knew what we want to build, but I guess every team needs a little bit of a push here and there in order to actually go full throttle into something, into developing the project. And for us, the Solana Hackathon was this turning point where we decided, okay, let's focus on this, let's dedicate really 24/7 our time during the hackathon to that. And let's see where it takes us, right? Because if we see that people that are looking at the hackathon, that are judging the hackathon, think that what we are building is something useful, then we can just throw all the resources we have into that and go from there. And that's what happened.
Okay, so obviously you guys had the idea for Unq Club beforehand, but that Solana Hackathon was just kind of the motivation, okay, now we have this concept, we have this vision. Now let's go full throttle and make sure that we are seeing this out to the full extent that we can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So then let me ask you, knowing that the hackathon was kind of where you guys got started and really went full throttle with Unq Club, moving forward, what kind of vision do you have for Unq Club? Where, what kind of direction do you want to take the project over the course of the next few years here?
Yeah, that's really something that still keeps us up and running, and on an everyday level, because we really fell in love with the whole NFT space, and we really wanted to see how we can help not just creators, because everybody's focused on creators, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody is let's make another marketplace, let's make another minting, let's help artists on board into the NFTs and so on.
Yes.
And we're okay, that's fine, but there are also people who want to buy NFTs, and obviously we need them as well, right? Somebody needs to spend money to actually buy from those artists. So why don't we focus on that side, right? Because it has a lot of really, really interesting problems and a lot of potential as well. Because if we come from that side, probably we can go well beyond NFTs at some point, but that's a fantastic starting ground.
Okay, so starting with NFTs and then potentially moving on to other ventures in the future. One of the things that kind of caught my eyes when initially when I was doing research on Unq Club was the kind of role that it could play just in the general art scene, and having community members and kind of curators being able to come together to more or less pool resources in order to help build up collections. Would you be able to talk a little bit about how that would work, and maybe how communities would be bridged together with other curators and art enthusiasts, and how they would kind of bridge together and build these collections up?
Yeah. So that's this whole concept is driven basically by the very nature of NFTs, right? Mm-hmm. Because even though people trade and flip them right now, mostly, the greatest part, even for those NFTs that are being flipped, is based on their social value and the narrative value, right? That's what you do when you research an NFT project, right? You go to this Discord, you see how active this is the community, how positive it is, and then later on, a lot of projects move on to becoming a DAO or things like that, because honestly, that's I guess is the biggest power, the power of community behind those NFTs. But at the same time, a lot of people don't really have time or knowledge or connections or something like that to actually be able to research those projects and to dedicate whole their time to that, because otherwise you can't be really efficient in the market. So that's that's where we want to come in, and that's where we want to say, okay, we can put together curators, so people who have enough time, enough understanding, knowledge, and everything else, with those people who want to be a part of the market, who want to have this exposure, but don't have the time resources, right? But they have like a few hundred, few $1,000s to throw in. So what happens if we put these people together and give like not just this fund type of communication, but also this whole community power actually focused on something, again, where the curator can be this leader actually, and drive this whole power, steer it into a certain direction, helping certain artists or certain collections and so on, so like well beyond just DAO as a democratic tool.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. I love the concept, honestly, because, I'm a little bit newer into the NFT space. I only got in here, over the course of the last few years. But to me, it's fascinating because it takes, kind of an old concept, art collecting. Art collecting has been around for, ages and ages now. And it pairs it with the ability through, technology and through blockchain technology specifically, the ability to, not just yourself be, an educated art professional, have all this time on your hands to be able to, research, the value of different art pieces, what looks good, what doesn't, but also be able to, pool your resources together with other people and to help build up these collections as together as a community. I think that's really awesome. So, and the fact that you guys are doing it on Solana as well. I know a lot of people in our community, they're big fans of the Solana chain. I actually have one question from one of our community members in the chat here, Champion Ignite. Will I be able to include NFTs from other chains in Unq Club eventually, or will it just be on Solana?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's something that we have included even into our hackathon demo, because we are well aware that most of the NFTs are not on Solana, obviously, at this point. And we also believe in a multi-chain future. So we've been from the very beginning envisioning this approach where we say, okay, Solana is great, obviously, and it can serve as sort of like operating system for everything that we are doing. But we need to have connection to other chains as well. We need to have people getting this exposure to Ethereum NFTs, Flow NFTs, Wax NFTs, and so on and so on. The only problem was that majority of solutions in this area are bridges or some sort of bridges, right? And that's something that wasn't really satisfying for us for many reasons. Just one of them is philosophical and again narrative to a large extent, because for example CryptoPunks, they are not just on Ethereum, they're a part of Ethereum history and they depend a lot of their Ethereum narrative, right? So bridging a punk to Solana, for example, would just be wrong, right? So we are working on something together with our partners that will actually allow people to own different assets from single interface based on Solana, but like any NFT on any chain.
Wow, that's amazing, actually. And I think one of the things that's important that you kind of called out is, I don't think any one user in the crypto space is ever going to utilize exclusively one blockchain. So having that cross-chain compatibility between other chains, the ability to transfer NFTs and to transfer tokens between Solana, Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, the bigger chains that exist, that's going to be extremely important, because one of the phrases that I like that I've heard over and over the course of the last few years is there is no one blockchain that rules them all, right? I think everyone knows Bitcoin is the number one coin, the number one chain, and then you look at Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Cosmos, Avalanche. There's a lot of different options, and each one of them have different niches, different things that they're good at. So the ability to have that cross-chain compatibility is so important, because if you want to build a holistic ecosystem that includes, the vast amount of people that are getting into blockchain right now and the ones that will get involved in the future, you need to be able to have that kind of cross-chain compatibility and be able to operate seamlessly between these different chains. So I like that you call that out. I think it's really important for the success of any project moving forward, is that ability to be, cross-chain, to be as visible as possible to different communities. Now, one of the questions that I actually have, and Martin, I'll throw this one at you. Obviously, a lot of the people that are watching today, they are, excited about the future prospects of Unq, but they also want to participate in the IDO. And with the IDO, obviously, they're not purchasing NFTs. They are contributing to a project and earning Unq tokens. So if you wouldn't mind, Martin, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about the UNQ token and what kind of utility and use cases in your ecosystem will that token have?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, we've been thinking a lot about this because this is the most important thing. And if you don't find enough utilities, you better don't have token, right? So first, since we are a DAO composer, in a way, our UNQ token is going to serve as a governance token. And here it's maybe the moment that I should mention that there is going to be two types of clubs / DAOs. And so we're going to have a private and a public club. All right. So a private club, essentially that could be like a small group of people, gaming guild, for example, or just people that like they just are fans of on chain bunnies and they just want to acquire more and more and get all the golden ones and all the rare ones, and just grow the whole collection and the whole thing over just one main, have one main focus only. And that could be a group of 5 to 6, 10, 20 people, even 3 people. So basically, those people will be able to open no-code DAO, very like a robust way to trust each other, so they can have collective ownership. But when some change or transaction should be made, basically they need to go through a voting process, governance process. So they will be using our own token, obviously, for that. But on the other hand, we have also public clubs, which they will have their own social tokens within our platform, traded only versus our own UNQ token. So we're going to have pairs of all these other social tokens versus only our own token. And those are 2 great utilities. And maybe the third will be the biggest one, will be staking rewards, of course. Fourth, I would say people who hold some amount of our token will have a heavy discount on fees, and they will be able to unlock another perks and features on the platform. And also the way how those clubs / DAOs will open, it's actually by locking some UNQ tokens as a little bit skin in the game. And on the other hand, there is going to be option to rent a space, let's say. So you rent a DAO and you should pay X amount of UNQ tokens every month. So all of those utilities, they're going to cause a great buying pressure, because essentially you will need our token to do, most of the things in the platform, to be honest. And obviously we're going to keep those rates, low. We're not going to, go crazy with those. But for example, when it comes to public clubs, again, since our, let's say, biggest goal is those public clubs to be legal entities. This is just a pure business to business model where big companies or real life art dealers, museums, galleries, they come and they open club on our platform. And they bring their own crowd. They can raise funds from the end user and tokenize items that they already have, and just play a lot. And just this is going to be a very simple way for them to enter the NFT space, because we're going to provide the whole the framework. From legal perspective point, you get your own social token, you get like a DAO, a no-code DAO, and stuff like this. And imagine for one real life museum, how easy it would be just to start interact with the NFT space within just a couple of weeks when they set up everything and they're ready to go. They're ready to mint, they're ready to raise funds, they're ready to start buying, have this they can collaborate with some NFT curator, for instance, so he can guide them how to do things, and build those clubs, right?
Yeah.
So actually, those clubs will be very few in the beginning. There's going to be only one actually, and then we're going to auction every other club. So let's say we released only 3 spots for those type of clubs for the next 1 month or 2 months, and then you just auction that as you auction parachains on Polkadot, but with our own token. So this is another utility of the token actually.
Yeah, and I like the mention of parachains there, because a lot of people they might not be familiar with Polkadot, and even then Polkadot's one of the the top chains that are out there. So the prospect of auctioning off kind of like how parachains work with Polkadot and their Canary network, I think that's an awesome concept, and the fact that you are driving all of this utility all through the Unq token and through all DAO staking governance, I think that's huge, because what a lot of projects that I look at with token utilities, I want to make sure that these tokens are absolutely stacked with utilities, where if I want to be able to interact with your ecosystem in any fashion, I need to be a holder of that token. And obviously I would personally, I would look for, okay, how can I utilize this token within the ecosystem? What kind of utilities does it have? What kind of use case? And this is something that I'm passionate about. And with a lot of people that are looking to get into the art space, looking to either be a curator or be paired with a curator from a community standpoint, it's important to understand that in order to do that with Unq, you have to be involved holding Unq tokens, and it all flows through that one token that you guys have. I think it's a really cool concept. Now, I do want to take the chance and take a question from the community, because while I think the concept is fantastic, I know that some people, they're not just looking to collect pieces of art, but they're also looking at different kinds of NFTs, so artwork as well as music. So one of our community members here, Daniel, is asking, what NFT opportunities will there be for creating, curating, and collecting music-related NFTs? He loves gaming NFTs, but he feels like the music concepts of NFTs is an underestimated avenue. So what kind of opportunities will there be for collecting music-related NFTs on Unq?
So to be honest, in the very beginning, we have one main goal, and this is to start with the major type of clubs. For example, obviously we are partnering with a couple of games to pre-open, gaming clubs, guild clubs. Also with art collectors for art, with PFP collectors for PFP club. Obviously, there is going to be a music club. This is super obvious that we are going to do this, so we can showcase every single aspect that our platform, it's not about just one thing. There is no limit. Basically, even though something very important to say here, our main vertical obviously is the NFTs, and this is our main focus. But if you wish, for example, to, let's say, participate in a launchpad, you can open a club and just collect money from your friends or people that and just have a collective ownership on those tokens, those money, and you just sign for a launchpad. You can, obviously, we also want to integrate with a few different DeFi protocols, because you should be able, from this club, when you put those money together, or you raise 100K from your community, and there is an auction that it will happen in 48 hours. Why not, until this time, 48 hours, you make some profit out of farming or something else? Money, they should not be sleeping. If you want to make more money and more, have a different stream of, of revenue. So yeah, I mean, we're not going to have any limitations, and our clubs could be used beyond NFT space as well. But obviously, our focus is just mostly on NFTs for now.
Perfect. And yeah, to kind of piggyback on something that Daniel was talking about, he was really curious about the music aspect of NFTs, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And we've had a couple of different projects on ChainBoost that have launched that are a little bit more focused on NFTs, and one specifically that's focused on music. And we actually got the chance to listen to a representative of their company speak at NFT NYC, right? And they were talking about just the level of independence that artists can achieve just through going into NFTs versus traditional avenues. So whether it's the traditional art space or whether it's the traditional music space, and pairing up with record labels if you're an artist, there's a lot of opportunity for these artists to get involved with NFTs, to do their own fundraising, be independent, and ultimately follow the direction that that they want to set for themselves, right? Versus being professional artists, or being a professional music artist in as part of a record label, and not having that independence, or not being able to set your own direction. So the fact that you guys are focusing on allowing artists and allowing curators, collectors just to be themselves and interact with that ecosystem however they please, I think that's fantastic. And I think it's a really big step forward for any aspiring curators, collectors, artists, what have you, because a lot of people are seeking out that independence. So I commend you guys on that, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we are really looking, to balance out in a way, because yes, it's much better for an artist, like any artist, whether musician or like a painter or whatever, to be independent, obviously. On the other hand, that doesn't mean that, like, if you're a great artist, that doesn't mean you're good at promotion, for example, right? You might not be really good at organizing your own concerts, exhibitions, and so on and so on. But we really think that instead of having just like one, let's say, fully professional generational gatekeeper, like what museums and record labels do right now and so on, having a community empowering the artist can be much more interesting and beneficial for all the stakeholders in the system. Because then, like, there might be a guy from Hong Kong who really likes what you are doing, really likes your music, and he knows just like some owner of a club in Hong Kong, and he can help you push there, for example, right? And things like that. So this a little bit decentralized, let's say, approach to the whole thing, where the community is contributing in a very passionate manner to the artists behind those NFT that they're collecting, that can be like the big step for everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That's kind of the direction that we're all heading in. One of the reasons why a lot of us get into blockchain is that aspect of decentralization, right? And not having to necessarily rely on big corporate record labels or big art institutes in order to make a name for yourself. So the fact that you guys are providing an avenue for artists to do that, it's absolutely amazing. It still blows my mind, even a couple of years into the space later, the fact that we've come this far and we're only just starting.
Yeah, but the one concept we really believe in, and somebody said it, it's not mine. Decentralization is not about anarchy; it's about creating more leaders. So that's what we are focusing on here as well.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. It's not about anarchy; it's about creating more leaders and ultimately letting the community speak for what they want. And while record labels and art institutes, maybe they have a big say right now in the traditional space, but this empowers more and more people to not only get involved, but ultimately have their voices heard, and get a little bit deeper involved into with their communities in the art space and the music space. So again, I commend you guys for what you're building, seriously. Now, one of the questions that has come up in our community, especially over the course of the last couple of days, to kind of switch gears a little bit here, is the dark matter NFTs as a part of Unq Club. I wanted to pick you guys' brain about it and speak a little bit about the utility of these dark matter NFTs and what kind of benefits that the holders of this NFT would have. Which, by the way, quick note, if you were a part of the giveaway for the 100 dark matter NFTs that ChainBoost and Unq Club distributed. Those NFTs were actually distributed a little bit earlier today. So if you were one of the winners, check your Solana address and you should have that NFT available. Now getting back to the dark matter NFTs, again, if one of you guys could speak to the utility of these NFTs and the minting process, because I believe that minting process actually begins sometime tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, so our whole process around like the minting itself and the utility of the NFTs is how do I put it, unorthodox,
Okay.
to say the least. So we really wanted again to utilize this whole like community power, community drive, and so we actually partnered with a number of projects on Solana, and we basically said, okay, if you have tokens of those projects, for example, Bonfida and Serum, and I don't know, a lot of them, you can come to our website, connect your wallet, and claim free neutrino tokens, depending on the amount of tokens that you have from the ecosystem, basically. Then we distributed a number of dark matter, which are not NFTs, they're still tokens, to holders of neutrino. And the more neutrino you had, the bigger your chances to get dark matter. And some of them were also distributed through our partners and giveaways and so on. So now tomorrow, we are launching the mint, and during the first 48 hours, you can come to our website, unquniverse.com, and mint an NFT if you have dark matter. So dark matter plus 1 sol over the first 48 hours. So basically it's exclusive of sorts to people who have the dark matter tokens. And you can mint up to 5 per address. And after that, we're kind of making it free for all, and people can come and mint it without dark matter, but the price will go up to 2 sol. So basically we are trying to do this whole thing in a way that community will be really incentivized. There is already a lot of things happening around that on their own, like people are trading dark matter and neutrinos and so on. Because we are deeply integrating this whole thing into our ecosystem as well. So for example, the NFTs themselves, universe NFTs, which are, again, have some unique mechanics. They are evolving NFTs actually, so they evolve based on 2 things: time, so every Solana epoch you get an evolution point, or trades, so every secondary market trade at a price higher than the previous one would give you an evolution point. So this mechanic alone is already something that we at least didn't see much in the space before. And like I said, all those things have utility within our ecosystem as well. So the NFTs would be required to actually open clubs on the platform. Of course, later on, clubs can sell them, but again, they'll be profiting much more from holding them in the club's vault. So again, those will be incentivized to actually being held. But both neutrino and dark matter are giving actually some interesting, let's say, utility right now even. And in our Discord, we opened a DAO, like Universe DAO, for holders of neutrino and dark matter, and that's the place where we really are dropping a lot of alpha. We are communicating constantly with those people, and we are looking to provide them more and more utility as we move forward. And again, all of those things are going to be utilized in the platform itself, on the platform level, not just on from the perspective we are doing something in Discord. No, it's going to be much deeper, obviously.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up, because a lot of people, they came into our social channels, our Twitter, our Telegram, Discord, and they were like, hey, I won in the dark matter giveaway that was done through ChainBoost and Unq. Now what? So the fact that you guys are opening up minting tomorrow, I think that's big for anybody who's watching. If you were a part of that giveaway and you were a winner, remember, minting starts tomorrow. And what you said, for the first 48 hours, you need to hold dark matter and 1 sol in order to mint, and then it's open to the rest of the public, correct? All right, perfect. And
yes, exactly.
And just after that 48 hours, if you don't hold dark matter, you can still mint these NFTs, but it would cost 2 sol versus dark matter and 1 for the first 48 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, one of the last questions that that I personally have for you guys, and then I want to open it up to some more community questions and maybe get some rapid fire AMA questions here going. One of the last questions I have is, obviously we talked a little bit earlier about the creation of Unq and how you were primarily built on, Solana, but with the opportunity to be, cross-chain compatible in the future. If you don't mind me asking, what went into the decision to build on Solana versus building on, like Ethereum or, Polygon?
Yeah.
This is very, by the way, before Alex continue, this is very, very funny story. Actually, in the very beginning, when we had the concept at least and the idea, and then we had to decide, which chain actually we're going to utilize, right? And I remember back then, Alex told me, "Okay, let's go for BSC," and I was like, "Wait, if we are doing this on BSC, I'm not part of the team. I'm not doing this project anymore, And he was like, "Okay, let's think about it more. Let's research more. Let's see what's going on." And Solana was relatively new back in January, because put this in perspective, right? There were like 15 projects launched on Solana before that. So yeah, actually, it was very difficult to build on to make this decision to build on a chain that it's not very utilized yet. It's there is a chance of to grow, but you never know. But yeah, we took this kind of risk, but we have no doubts about this. I mean, that's the best decision in our life so far, to be honest. Solana is just we feel Solana like a family. They're super kind. They have over 30 business developers, and everything that you need from them, they just connect you with. It's a matter of minutes to get to some of the Solana team and say, I need connection to this project. Please explain me that, and stuff like this. So that was super helpful, actually, and that's why we became kind of a Solana Maxis and decided to run the project initially as Solana Maxis. Obviously, we're going to run cross-chain, but initially to be to appreciate those guys, because they're just But Alex, can tell you the reasons.
No, I mean that's the biggest part of the story, and yeah, the first because Ethereum is prohibitively expensive sometimes, right? Because of all the gas fees and everything else. It's just and we wanted a platform that build a platform that can actually support a lot of use cases on the daily level, pure Ethereum obviously is not going to work. So there are obviously layer 2 solutions and chains, but I don't know. It's still a big question. Sometimes from security perspective and so on, and they're still rolling out all those additional things that actually will make them as secure and as robust as anything else. So then there are, of course, Ethereum forks and general, let's say, EVM based chains, right? Yeah. So those are kind of familiar to developers on one hand, but on the other hand, yeah, like Martin said, sometimes really doubtful because it's so easy to go to Binance Smart Chain, for example. You just fork something from Ethereum, you deploy it there, your project is up and running in 7 days. That's that brings a lot of bad reputation, I guess, to anything that is trying to build on top of those. And then our next idea was Polkadot, actually, and so we really wanted to build on top of it, but back in January, February, parachains were not anywhere close to being released. So building on top of something that promises to go production sometime in the future is really not a decision that is easy to make. And yeah, then we came across Solana and we were like, okay, it's fast, it's cheap, and it's production basically, right? It's up and running. So let's try that. Let's see where it takes us. And yeah, then we fell in love, like Martin said, with the ecosystem, with people in the Solana team itself. And of course, building using Rust is a completely different experience rather than Solidity as well. And that's actually something that gets a lot of benefits when trying to actually hire developers, for example, right? Because when you tell them, yeah, you can build on Rust, everybody loves Rust. Everybody loves Rust. So that's such a huge point.
Yeah, definitely a huge point. Developers love Rust. The big points that I want to point out, especially for the community members and the people listening, is the scalability and the speed in which Solana can operate as well. And on the flip side of things, one thing that I talk to a lot of different artists on, if they're in the traditional art space or if it's more music, anything like that, and one of the hesitations behind getting into the NFT space, depending on what blockchain they operate on, is also the environmental impact too, and the environmental impact on Ethereum mining as well. So using different blockchains, utilizing layer 2 solutions for Ethereum, or utilizing Solana that is a little bit more scalable, a little bit quicker, cheaper to operate, and then also less of an environmental impact, it definitely lowers that kind of barrier to entry that a lot of people in the art space have getting into NFTs. So it kind of allows for that bridging of the traditional and the blockchain space a lot more easily, because that's not even a second thought. They don't have to worry about that environmental impact as much, especially when you're building on chains like Solana. So I think the idea behind building on Solana, I think it's huge, and the fact that you guys took that risk as early as you did, and now just knowing the user base that Solana has now, how much it's grown in just the public's eye, the fact that it's building as much as it is right now, and all the projects that are coming onto it, I think you guys definitely made a good decision. And you took that gamble early on, but now it seems like with the popularity that Solana's gaining, that it's going to bring a lot more visibility and a lot more eyes onto your project. So again, want to commend you guys on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, now, almost a year into that, we feel like OGs basically of Solana because we are so old. We started building a year ago. It's crazy how fast this space, evolves and moves forward.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
No, it's crazy. A year in blockchain is 5 years in the traditional space, at least.
At least.
There's just so much innovation, so much going on. It's almost hard to keep track of it sometimes. But again, a year ago, you guys took that risk, and now look at Solana now. So again, more eyes, more visibility on your project. I love to see it. So that's all the questions that I personally have for today. I do want to get into some more community member questions. So guys, if you are asking questions in the chat, keep on asking them. If you haven't asked questions yet, we are going to be doing some more giveaways as the live stream is going on. Now, one of the things, gentlemen, that we were talking about before the live stream is, sponsorship of prizes. We were kind of talking about sponsoring some stable coins for community members that have questions answered. For a number, are we looking to do maybe $100, $200 worth of stable coins? What would you guys like to do for community members to have their questions selected? I think we're going to select probably about 4 or 5 questions here. That's what we have time for.
Yeah, we would love to give away 300.
300, okay.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the 5 people that has their questions selected, $60 worth of stable coins. So make sure that you get your questions in now. We are going to be pulling 5 from the drawing right here. One of the questions that I would want to start with right here is from Deba Brada. I'm probably butchering the absolute hell out of that name. I apologize. I'll drop it in the chat just so you know who you are. They ask, will there be a possibility that I can rent my NFTs to others, or vice versa, using the Unq platform in the future?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because that's something that a lot of people are looking into and a lot of projects are doing, driven by the example of Axie Infinity, obviously. And it's a really funny story, how it's all started in Axie. It was just pretty much by mistake, right? People in the community discovered they can actually do that. They can create another account, connect their MetaMask, throw some NFTs into that one, and basically people can play but cannot move assets from the wallet. And basically the problem is that right now that's pretty much the extent of what you can do in terms of renting out NFTs. there are no, so far at least, from what I've seen, like on-chain mechanisms to like really rent them and then being able to revoke them and so on. And there are so many questions regarding that, on the technology level and on the logical level, like how do you do it, how do you prevent, and so on and so on. So I know some projects are looking into that. And again, our goal definitely here is to collaborate with all those projects that can provide additional value to our clubs in terms of, again, treasury management, vault management, like yields on the I don't know, tokens that they have in the treasury or NFTs they have in the vault, and so on and so on. So that clubs will be able to build like robust business models on top of their assets. That's the point in the end of the day. But yeah, from our side, what we will be doing, like any club will be able to like create multiple sub vaults, which can be operated sort of independently, but again controlled by the club. So that's, for example, where the gaming guilds will be able to like say, okay, like we are having some set of game items all together, but then we'll put these three into a separate one, put it in some account, and then like some guild member can utilize them along the way.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I love the call out to Axie. One of the things that they, really honed in on and, brought to the public eye that was so important that I don't think a lot of projects had either necessarily thought of yet or implemented yet is that ability to, rent out NFTs. So the fact that you guys are also going to be going in that direction and allowing, other guilds and community members to utilize each other's NFTs, definitely big. There's a really big market for people that are interested in doing that. A lot of users. Now,
Yeah, if I can just add on this, actually,
yeah, of course.
we have a plans of even providing scholarships and grants for a gaming guilds just to kick off the platform, initially. And to be honest, we could either raise money from, VCs investors or use our own funds. But the point is actually to bring people in, to change lives, because we, me, Alex, we are from countries that they don't have that big of a standard, life standard, and we want to change many of those lives and just provide them the ability to make living out of, their laptop, computer at home, like see what is going on with COVID, and I think we're moving towards this direction more and more of, and the idea of making some kind of income online is just more and more attractive. So we're definitely looking to do that. No questions asked there. I mean,
Okay.
This is big.
Okay, perfect. Now, we only do have about 10 minutes left, so I want to get into these questions here kind of quickly, make sure that everybody has a chance to ask their questions. Another question from a community member, Manoj. Again, probably butchered the name. I apologize if I did. They asked, do you have any plans to bring people and creators who are maybe not familiar with the crypto worlds together? So kind of talking about bridging the gap between traditional and blockchain, if there's any plans in the future for Unq to, kind of provide that bridge and to allow more people from the traditional space to get into the blockchain space.
Yeah, exactly. So as I said in the very beginning, actually, those public clubs are essentially how we envision to be like real life galleries, museums that they have no clue about NFTs, and they can collaborate with someone that is more familiar with the NFT space, or just, imagine one influencer or one celebrity. He has the name, he has some crowd, but he has no idea how to, launch successfully a collection or became a, a collector or whatever, just to be part, just to utilize his own name and his own crowd successfully. As we see more and more celebrities coming, yesterday we saw Snoop Dogg collaborating with another NFT project and whatnot. So essentially, we want to connect those dots. The people who has, let's say, following or something, to connect them with people that are pros, but they can stay anonymous. They can just do whatever they want. They could be one of those whatever .it or .so names on Twitter that we all know, and collaborate with those guys, and to open a club together, so they can get the things rolling from there. Because you bring someone who give the credibility and the people, and someone who has the expertise. And another example is just let's say a big VC to collaborate with a famous real life gallery or museum. Why not? They can crush it. Literally they can crush this club and have huge fan base and huge vote and acquiring big collections and doing big things.
Yeah. And one thing I want to end here, like real quick, if that sounds crazy to you, you should know that this kind of thing already exists and it works. There are already collector communities and professional collectors, let's say, in the NFT space that are doing exactly that. Whale Shark helped on board Paris Hilton into the NFT world, right? And it went really well back then. So Whale Shark is also a big community, and the DAO, all those things, they have their also own social token, right? So we are closely following everything that is happening and everything that was done already in this space. What we believe is important is to help that scale on all levels. Like Martin said, legal level, corporate structure, technological level, social level, community, shared community, and things like that. Really to empower the scale, and that can change the industry.
And the most important thing is to bring this to retail level, a single interface for everyone, just like an exchange, because right now, if you want to be a part of those Flamingo DAO or Whale Shark, it's hard. It's hard to get in. It's hard to prove yourself. They're just kind of just private groups that they don't allow many people join the party. So we want to bring the same thing on just retail level and just allow for the end user to benefit from the whole thing.
Okay, perfect. Now, one of the questions that came up from our community members here, and this is potentially a softball question, potentially a complicated question, we'll see here, is how are you different from all the other projects in the blockchain space? What makes Unq stand out above all others?
Well, that's a complex question. Everything that we are talking about is in a way unique. So, for example, obviously we are not, let's say, the only ones who are trying to build this DAO platform, right? So for people to create their own DAOs. What differentiates us from this perspective is that we are building DAOs that are heavily ownership oriented, right? So we are not talking here about democracy and governance per se. We are talking about this: how can people manage their assets together?
Yes.
In a trustless manner. So that's definitely one of the things, for example, that some people are probably looking into, but for us it's like the laser focus here. And that allows us to later on extend beyond that concept, right? Because we have this building block that is completely on chain, for example, doesn't have governance fatigue issues and stuff like that. And from there we can build on and look into the other verticals in the industries. And the same goes for everything else, right? So we are trying to onboard museums and galleries like many other projects want to do. The difference here is we are not coming to say, hey, take something that you have and sell it as an NFT. We are saying utilize your knowledge, experience, and connections, raise money, and then increase this collection, build up your existing business. And the same goes to everything else, for collectors even, right? No, it's not just about we will help you buy NFTs. No, buy NFTs, generate additional revenues on top of that, those, make it a business.
Yeah.
And also another thing is actually how we started in the very, very beginning. We were trying to think, obviously fractionalization was a big thing a few months back. And we think this is a very wrong thing to do. It will not last that long. But we've been thinking, okay, NFTs are asset class, right? But they're specific asset class. And if you have already successfully copy trading existing on a regular market and crypto market, how do you copy trade NFT, right? You cannot, because it's only one. If there's only one golden bunny and I buy it, no one else can have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I open a club and I buy it with you guys, we all have it, So this is another way of to not fractionalize, but to have this collective ownership on one hand, and on the other hand, just have the same thing as someone else would have, and it's only one actually. And basically, this is the role of the curator, to choose and pick, the winning NFTs, and you just follow his steps. You just throw money on him, and he's doing the job for you, and he's sharing the profits with you. So this is the end goal for those curated clubs that will exist, right? So it's the first and maybe the only efficient way how you can copy trade an NFT trade.
Yeah, and it feeds into the whole tagline that I was really impressed with when I was researching Unq for the first time, is making collecting a full-time job, right? So the ability to pull together resources, but still have that curator at the very, very top making that decision on, what NFTs, what art pieces to add to the collection, and having, that kind of professional mindset who's maybe from the traditional space, maybe just starting off the blockchain space, working it. I think that's absolutely huge, especially for people that might be in the traditional art scene or might not know that much about art, but are looking to get into that and take that first step. So definitely helps, provide that bridge between that traditional and the blockchain space, I think. All right, guys, we only have time for 2 more questions. We have one from Hall here. He says, you stated that you only make NFTs that are fascinating and distinctive. What art inspired you to create these NFTs?
Well, it wasn't art. It was mathematics and physics, purely. There is the whole inspiration came from what's known as Wolfram physics project, and that one basically says that our entire universe and everything in it is built on like a set of rules that just repeat themselves. So the universe actually evolves, and everything evolves over time, and that's how you can arrive to a final form of everything. And that's like really fascinating, although like very controversial theory. It's not even a theory, it's just like something that Stephen Wolfram throws out into his blog from time to time. And like there is a huge debate about this, but both from like educational perspective and as a mental exercise, and also visually, those things are just fascinating. So that was our inspiration, and we've built everything on top of that in our collection. So like that's where the whole evolution comes from. That's all the visuals, customization, and even our charitable goals that we have, like will be donating to educational focused charities in the first place.
And the initial goal was to coat the eyes of the most experienced and most like passionate NFT collectors, because this is the focus of our platform. And Alex said one day, okay, we should make the most crazy NFT out there to get to those people, right? I mean, if we are just open a platform without anything, they might never get interest in us. And he was like, I'll try to, have this exposure to the people that really see something different, right? Because they're looking for something different, not essentially a one-on-one piece, but something that does not exist, and it's not PFP, it's not another, of those usual NFTs that most of the projects are doing at the moment. That it's something out of the box, completely different. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, based on math and physics, not based off of art. I love the concept of it, and with the art, I've seen a couple of the art pieces, the assets that you guys have sent over, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And I love the evolutionary aspect behind it all. How these NFTs have the ability to essentially evolve or to earn, evolution points as you hold these NFTs for longer and longer. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Now, last question that we have from Jay and Stas in the chat here is, do you think that your possible future NFT collections will also be math and physics inspired as well, or will it, be a little bit more directed towards the art side of things?
Well, we have several ideas regarding that. Like, in the first place, we really are excited about this evolution concept as well. And that's something that we want to open source as a mechanism to the entire community. And obviously, help other people implement that into their collection as well, and artists, for example, as well. Because for us, the most exciting pieces that were created in the NFT space were those that were really like connected to the blockchain, right? Like really blockchain native stuff. And I guess we all want more of that happen, right? Because blockchain and crypto has its own culture at this point. Most of it obviously is like sort of meme culture, but it can be more than that, obviously. So if artists really like cater to this idea and to the blockchain culture, it can be much more interesting and much more fascinating and much more popular as well. So we're going to be helping artists implement that mechanic on one hand, and on the other hand, like we'll be pushing still down this direction, because again, that's something interesting for collectors, and that's also like it seems to be a like really well working community building tool for us, not just in terms of like people who are interested in what we are doing, but also like developers who probably want to build on top again of what we are creating and dropping as an open source and so on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I'm fascinated by the prospect of what your future NFTs are going to hold, and to the original point, how the NFTs are based off of math and physics. I think it's definitely something that's a little bit different from the current NFT space. You see, not just traditional art, but also like this new wave of different kinds of art pieces, as you've seen with like Bored Apes, CryptoPunks. But the ability to create these NFTs more based less off of art and more based off of math and physics, I think it's something different, and it's something that's a little bit more unique to the Unq brand. So thank you for sharing a little bit more information about that. All right, and gentlemen, we are actually out of time for today. I do want to give you both the opportunity to have the floor a little bit and share any kind of closing thoughts you have with the ChainBoost and the Unq community before your IDO next week. So any kind of closing thoughts, anything that you want to leave the community with here, Martin? I'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, I just want to thank first to you guys for the opportunity that you gave us for this, great AMA. Also, we chose ChainBoost. Obviously, we had a chance to go for several different launch pads and whatnot, but we really like what you guys doing, and we really believe that first we wanted to choose something that is beyond Solana ecosystem, just so we can reach out beyond that ecosystem, and on the other hand, have the right token holders, right? Because it's not about just another launchpad, and what you guys doing with this score boost that you have. What's the name of that?
Boost score.
Boost score. Okay, yeah, that's really amazing. I have not seen anything like this, and that got me most excited in the beginning. And obviously, I'm a big fan of ChainGuardians as well, way before that. And when we initially, talk to you guys, I mean, you were the first people that could fully understand our concept and our project within like a few minutes. And you were the first people that said, oh, this is super needed, this is huge, we really like it, because usually we are looking for those type of people that they know what's going on, for the OGs, and obviously you're one of them. So yeah, I'm just super grateful about that and about our community. Actually, I want to thank to everyone that has joined our Discord and following our Twitter. I mean, we grew our social following within just few weeks from 0 to 400k I believe now, and yeah, I'm super excited to see what's next actually, and I just want to thank everyone for that.
Thank you for the kind words, Martin. I appreciate it. Alex, any closing thoughts?
Super exciting to build in this space. Like it feels like I said, I've been building here from 2016, like with some breaks to dedicate my time to other projects and interests as well. But it feels completely different being here now. The space is much more mature. The space is much more interesting and much more diverse, and that's definitely something that keeps me here and makes me want to build for the community and for the industry. I believe we can do something revolutionary altogether because the collaboration that is here right now is just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It's, the development that's happened since you joined the blockchain space 5 years ago to what it is now, and just think, we're still just getting started. We're still in that infancy stage. So really excited to see, overall how the blockchain space, but especially how Unq Club continues to develop over the next couple of years. Definitely very excited for that. And real quick, my closing thoughts, just want to say thank you to all the community members that joined us today. I know that usually when you hop onto these live streams, you'll see Ben, but I'm going to take over some of those live stream responsibilities for him. But you'll probably see him popping into the chat here and there as well. Quick reminder about Unq Club. Their IDO is on the 16th of December, so next Thursday. If you guys haven't already registered, go on to ChainBoost.io, complete KYC, and go ahead and express interest in the Unq Club. If you are looking to participate, we are still running that giveaway. I'll put the link to the giveaway in the Twitter description, and I'll stick around the live stream a little bit after we're fully ended, just so if there's any kind of closing comments you guys have, I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. If you are interested in participating in the Unq Club IDO, just make sure you express interest by December 15th or next Wednesday, so that way you meet that registration deadline. All right, Martin, Alex, thank you guys both again so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and thank you again for hopping on here. I know you guys are super duper busy in the lead up to your IDO. So thank you for
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you both. Everyone who tuned in, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため立ち向かうそれは心も痩せの隅でまた霞み始めてる決意揺らぎそうでも閉ざされた空その鍵を壊せばそう握られた刃はまだ持て余されて加速する共鳴が言霊を脈打たせてく注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界
続けろ